Today, we're going to talk about inclusive service delivery. So, what does that mean? Well, we're going to get into that, and the quotes are going to help us understand that. I've had to develop a new skill of how to identify takers from givers. A second one is make your interactions with people transformational, not just transactional. Inclusive service delivery means connecting with every single individual. It also means that they are going to come in with their own ideas, morals, cultural background, social construction. They're going to have their own ideas and leverage that. They're going to use that. So we need to provide equal quality service to all customers, no matter about their social construction, their ideas. This isn't only about what you see, like the picture I used here on the slide. It's not only is somebody handicapped, that's often what we think of when we think of inclusive service delivery, and that's just not what it is. We have to learn to give equitable quality service to all customers beyond even equal, because every customer has their own needs, and we should not be assuming what those needs are. When you do this properly, you allow all customers to feel respected, valued, and comfortable. They're enjoying your business and working with you. The key idea here is basically just being fair does not mean being identical. Being fair means treating each service delivery opportunity, getting to connect with that individual you're working with, and giving them the service that they need. This matters for a lot of reasons when it comes to how we do this in service situations. I listed these here. Basically, the first impression is just so important. And you are, as the service delivery provider, that frontline person, you're the person they see. You're the most important person when it comes to first impressions. Next, nearly every hospitality and tourism business, perhaps all of them, have a diverse customer base. Diversity is about the psychology of the individual. It isn't just demographics. It's even something called psychographics, which are how we think. It's about social construction. And because of that, we know that they're going to have diverse expectations for how the service inclusivity should go. If you do this properly, equitable outcomes, meeting everybody where they are, understanding them and giving what they need to them in the service situation, you're going to have higher customer service satisfaction scores, repeat business or loyalty, and your brand will mean more to the person you're serving. It's often easier to understand inclusive service delivery in customer service contexts by what it is not rather than what it is. It is not lowering standards to meet people. It is not treating every single person exactly the same. It does not mean that things have to be more complex. It is about consistency, treating every single person equitably with the best customer service for them, and awareness of what they actually need, what they're thinking, reading the situation, and understanding their psychology is unique to them. Their social construction is unique to them. So I went through why it's easy, but there are a lot of barriers to providing inclusive service. The number one that I see is transactional versus interactional. And I'm going to go through that in depth in a second because that's the number one thing that I see. Number two, I see people making assumptions about what consumers want. Do not assume, ask. In customer service, we are going to be faced with time pressure. You need to read a room, but that doesn't mean dropping your standards. It just means moving things along a little faster, perhaps. You can do this. It's a learned skill. If you're a gate agent, if you're a front desk agent, if you're a waiter, you will learn what these time pressures are and when to speed things up a little so that you can meet expectations for many people. It means you need to be aware of your surroundings. And then finally, there are communication gaps. We've gone through that quite a bit this quarter already. I'm not going to go back to it too much, but just remember that you saying something doesn't mean they understand it the way you said it. You may need to figure out how to speak to them because the purpose of communication is to connect with them, not for you to just say things. So, like I said, transaction and interaction is the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to equitable service inclusivity. And this is what the two are. So there's transactional. That's going to be where you're only thinking about the person in front of you in that very moment, but you're not thinking about the future. You should be thinking about how can I make this guest a loyal customer long term? As soon as you move to that long lasting connection, you've moved into interaction, or what's also called relational. You're not only serving the guest in that moment, you're building this into a long-term relationship. You're not just trying to get them to go away after you've serviced them. You're giving them personal attention that will turn them into a loyal customer with a positive, deep emotional connection to your brand. Don't think about this as a one-time interaction. You're not a used car salesman. This is about multiple interactions. Where it says high degree of churn or low or no degree of churn, if a company has 100 customers and 10 of them don't come back, that's a 90% return rate. And that's what churn is. How often does your customer base turn over? Transaction and interaction. Transaction is where you are trying to give them something to get them to move on. Interaction is where you're listening so that they get what they want. If this goes well, then you're going to be doing these things. You're thinking about customer needs and you're not assuming things when you're giving them service. There are some basic communication things that you're doing. You're using clear and simple language that avoids slang and jargon. Now, I care a lot about slang and jargon being used effectively when you're around your coworkers. That's one of the greatest ways to build confidence in your abilities that you're the professional in the room. But with them, the customer, you can't do that. Clear and simple language, confirm understanding, understand that they don't know your industry, and so you're probably going to need to be somewhat patient with them. Cultural awareness and the noise, the environmental noise that brings, so be flexible. Try to listen and understand them. Eye contact, body language, tone of voice, personal space, those are all different by culture. So you have to be flexible to understand who they are because you want to meet a customer where they are, not force them into your where you want them. And now, like normal, we have the different real world applications. You can pause it on each one of these, read through it, figure out what you would do in each of these given situations, because that is really important.